Kankuro is still searching for Shino with his puppet, and Shino throws a kunai at it, hitting the puppet. However, Kankuro uses a substitution technique, making the puppet appear beneath Shino and attack him. Shino dodges the strike, but Kankuro exploits his jump, knowing Shino can't evade mid-air, and fires blades from the puppet's mouth, targeting Shino's heart and head. But it turns out to be a clone made of insects to deceive Kankuro while Shino sneaks behind him and attacks. Kankuro evades again, saying, "You know well the weakness of puppet controllers, but now I'll show you my puppet's true power." Suddenly, the puppet lifts its arm and fires a bomb. Shino tries to block it with insects, but when it explodes, he realizes it's a poisonous gas. He jumps to a high place, avoiding most of it, but becomes dizzy, unable to stand properly after inhaling some of the gas. Kankuro hides among the trees. Meanwhile, Irika gives instructions to the children, telling them, if an enemy ninja appears, don't panic and hide in the secret room. Don't worry, the Chunin and Jonin teachers will protect you with their lives. As they ascend to the shelter, a crack appears in the third Hokage's statue. Irika thinks to himself, this is a bad omen. Konohamaru feels fear for his grandfather. At the same time, Sarutobi tries to pull Orochimaru's soul, thinking to himself, I don't have the strength to pull it all, or even sacrificing my life isn't enough in this old body. Orochimaru continues to press Sarutobi's body with the sword, trying to force his soul back inside. Meanwhile, Gaara's body partially transforms into a monstrous form, looking terrifying. Sasuke stands frozen, shocked at the sight. His body trembles in fear as Gaara leaps at him. Sasuke narrowly avoids the attack, but all the trees around him are destroyed in the impact. We see Sasuke hiding, struggling to regain his composure. We return to Shino, still struggling to breathe due to the gas. Kankuro watches him from behind the trees and seizes the moment, moving his puppet to attack Shino from behind. But it turns out to be another insect clone. Kankuro thinks to himself, how did he create a clone? He shouldn't be able to move now. Suddenly, Kankuro can't control or move his puppet and notices its joints are full of insects. The insects start crawling along Kankuro's chakra strings. Before Shino can locate him, Kankuro cuts the chakra strings. As Shino appears, Kankuro detaches his puppet's head and attacks him with it, releasing a poisoned blade from its mouth. But before it reaches Shino, the puppet stops and collapses. Kankuro is shocked to find insects on his hand and asks, when did they get to my hand and consume my chakra strings? Shino replies, the insects moving along the chakra strings were a trap to distract you, while you didn't notice the insects coming from behind. In the final attack, Shino pretended to fail to strike Kankuro, placing an insect on him instead. Kankuro asks, how did you locate me with just one insect? Shino replies, I don't like explaining the same thing twice. Kankuro recalls when he explained this to Sasuke. The insects continue to cover Kankuro's body, making him collapse. Shino tries to stand but collapses due to the poison spreading through his body, and he passes out. We return to Sasuke, who is still trying to avoid Gaara's attacks. Temari is terrified and hiding. Gaara says to Sasuke, are you afraid of me? Then, with intense rage, he yells, you are my prey. Sasuke decides to confront Gaara and jumps in front of him, but Gaara lands a powerful blow. Sasuke uses the substitution technique, reappears above Gaara, and throws a kunai at him. However, Gaara blocks it with his transformed hand, feeling nothing, absorbs the kunai into his hand, and fires it back at Sasuke, now engulfed in flames. It misses Sasuke, who hides again. Gaara taunts, why are you running? He suddenly feels another intense headache and remembers when he was young, sitting alone on a swing while other kids played with a ball. The ball flew over a wall, and since they hadn't yet learned to walk on walls, Gaara used sand to retrieve it for them. But as soon as they saw him, their faces showed fear, and they ran away. Gaara was shocked and shouted, wait, don't leave me alone. Against his will, the sand moved and grabbed two of them. Thinking, I don't want to be alone, Gaara got angry and attacked them with the sand. But Yashimaru, his caretaker, blocked the attack with her hand, bleeding, and begged him to calm down. Back in the present, Gaara tells Sasuke, you won't escape from me, and starts destroying all the trees to find him, laughing hysterically. Sasuke remembers training with Kakashi and the time Gaara told him, don't forget, you're my prey. Sasuke had asked, why are you so interested in me? Gaara replied, you have eyes that know loneliness and understand it's the worst pain in the world. As I told you, we have the same eyes, the kind that want to kill those who threw us into the hell of solitude. Sasuke recalled his brother, Uchiha Itachi. They were about to fight when Kakashi stopped them, telling Gaara, I don't know what you think you know about Sasuke, but don't act like you know everything about him. Why did you go out of your way to find him before the final matches just to tell him this? Gaara responded, the purpose of a fight is to put your life on the line and fight to the death. Only the winner will understand the value of their existence. Kakashi replied, are you saying you want to fight him to the death? Sasuke glared angrily, and Gaara continued, looking at Sasuke, I know that deep inside, you want the same thing. You want to prove your reason for existence and see that you're stronger than the person in front of you with eyes filled with a desire to kill. Back in the present, Gaara asks Sasuke, has your hatred and desire to kill grown weaker because of fear? He provokes Sasuke to show himself. Sasuke remembers his brother's gaze again, stands up, and gathers chakra in his hand to perform the Chidori, thinking to himself, my brother left me alive, but why? No, I know the answer. He left me to atone for his sins. He left me as a living reminder of his guilt for killing the entire clan. He left me to seek revenge and kill him. Gaara notices the light of the Chidori behind the trees, leaps toward it, and Sasuke jumps too, slicing Gaara's transformed hand. Sasuke lands on a tree branch, thinking he's defeated him, but Gaara laughs, enjoying the pain, excited to fight and kill the one causing him this pain. Sasuke smiles, seemingly enjoying the fight as well. Gaara reveals the tail of the monster inside him, scaring Sasuke, who thinks, what is happening? Gaara charges at him with incredible speed, but Sasuke activates the Sharingan and jumps away just in time. Gaara grabs a tree branch to change direction and attacks again. Sasuke uses a fireball jutsu because he doesn't have enough chakra for another Chidori. Gaara curls up, shielding himself with his transformed body, and hits Sasuke directly, slamming him into a tree. Sasuke remembers training with Kakashi, who told him 2 consecutive Chidori strikes are your limit, which is reasonable. Using the Sharingan with another technique is like detonating chakra in your body in an instant and depletes all your energy. Sasuke asked, what happens if I use it 3 times? Kakashi replied seriously, there won't be a 3rd time. Remember, the attack won't work as intended, your chakra will hit 0, and at worst, you'll die. Gaara continues provoking Sasuke, trying to remind him of his revenge. Sasuke stands, gathers a 3rd Chidori in his hand, and attacks again, but he feels pain and the Chidori weakens. He manages to slice Gaara's transformed arm, revealing Gaara's normal hand. We notice that Orochimaru's curse mark on Sasuke has activated, helping him in the attack. However, Sasuke collapses from the intense pain of the curse mark. Gaara's arm transforms back into the monster's hand as he leaps towards Sasuke, who can't move his body. Suddenly, Naruto appears with a powerful kick to Gaara's face, sending him flying away from Sasuke. Sasuke tries to stand up but fails, remembering the rest of Kakashi's words. If you let hatred consume you and rely on the cursed seal, you won't get stronger. If that happens, you won't be able to defeat Itachi. Sasuke tries to suppress the seal again but fails. Gaara says to Naruto, aren't you the boy I tried to kill? Naruto starts trembling in fear, remembering what happened in Lee's room at the hospital. Naruto turns to the others and says, we need to run. Suddenly, Gaara attacks Sasuke, but Sakura steps in front of him. Gaara remembers his caretaker and hits her hard, slamming her into a tree and knocking her unconscious. He clutches his head in pain. Temari is shocked that Sakura tried to stop Gaara. Naruto panics and thinks, what should I do? I don't want to fight him. Gaara recalls when Gai-sensei stopped him from killing Lee in the match. He also remembers his caretaker because of Sakura's act of protecting Sasuke. Then, he remembers a moment with his mother. He was standing in his room as a child, trying to harm himself with a knife, but the sand protected him against his will. Yashimaru, his caretaker, entered and said, the Kazekage ordered me to care for you, so please don't do this in front of me again. Gaara apologized for the injuries he caused her, and she replied, don't worry, it's just a scratch. He asked her, do wounds hurt? She answered, they hurt a little, but they heal quickly. He then asked, what does pain feel like? I've never been wounded before, so I'm asking. She said, how do I explain it? It hurts but is bearable. For example, when someone gets wounded, they quickly fall ill and can't think straight. Honestly, I'm not good at explaining it, but in simple terms, it's not a good state to be in. Gaara looked at her hand, feeling guilt and sadness, and asked, do you hate me? She answered, people hurt each other and get hurt throughout their lives, but it's hard to truly hate someone. He said, thank you. I think I understand pain now. Maybe I hurt like others do because I feel pain in my chest even though I'm not bleeding. Yashimaru took the knife from his hand, cut her finger slightly, and said, physical wounds bleed and look painful, but over time they fade. If treated, they heal quickly. But internal wounds are in the heart. They're hard to heal and may never fully recover. Gaara clutched his chest, feeling sorrow. She continued, but there's one thing that can heal them. It's a rare medicine that you must receive from someone else. Gaara looked at her with curiosity and said, "What is it? How can I get it?" She replied, "Love, and you already have it. Love is the spirit of giving to someone important and close to you. It's expressed through protection and care, like my sister always loved you." Shikaka's technique is a living spirit usually used in battle, and the sand protects you automatically out of love. I believe your mother's will is in the sand. She wanted to protect you even after her death, and you are important and close to me. Meanwhile, Guy-sensei continues defeating the Sand Village shinobi. One of them attacks, and Guy lands a powerful punch that leaves a mark on the wall. Two more leap toward Kakashi, but Guy takes them out and asks, "How many have you defeated?" Kakashi replies, 22. Guy smiles and says, "This time, I beat you. I've defeated 23. They continue fighting. Back with Gaara, he's still in pain from his memories. He recalls one night as a child when he asked Yashimaru for wound ointment. He took it to the children he had hurt when they ran from him. When Gaara knocked and handed one of them the ointment, he said, "I'm sorry for what I did." He gently offered the ointment, but the child slammed the door in his face, saying, "Go home, you monster." Gaara felt crushed and walked away sadly. On his way home, a stranger said, "Go home, you monster." Gaara got angry and killed the man. Later, he encountered his father, who looked at him with contempt. Gaara, feeling hurt, walked away and sat on a rooftop, blaming himself for what he had done. "Why am I the only one with a monster inside?" he thought. Suddenly, someone attacked him from behind with a kunai, but the sand protected him. Gaara turned to see a masked figure controlling the kunai. Furious, Gaara thought, "Why am I the only one going through this ordeal?" He engulfed the figure in sand and crushed their body. When he uncovered the person's face, he was shocked to see it was Yashimaru. He screamed and cried over her. Gaara then looks at Naruto and asks, "Why didn't you run away?" He asks Naruto, "What do Sasuke and Sakura mean to you?" Naruto responds, "They're my friends, and I dare you to hurt them again." Gaara tightens his grip on Sakura, hurting her and provoking Naruto. Despite his fear, Naruto tries to gather his courage and attacks Gaara. Gaara strikes Naruto, knocking him to the ground, but Naruto insists on saving his friends. Gaara laughs and says, "You fight for others? You don't need a reason to fight. Only the winner knows the value of their existence. Forget your friends and fight only for yourself. People who follow their emotions are worthless and must die." Naruto, angered by Gaara's words, replies, "I won't let you keep saying that, and I'll defeat you no matter what." Naruto leaps to attack, but Gaara recalls more memories, feels intense pain in his head, and delivers a powerful blow to Naruto. Gaara remembers the night he killed Yashimaru. He cried and asked her, "Why did you do this?" She replied, "It was an order from your father, the Kazekage." Gaara, shocked, asked, "Why would my father order that?" She answered, "You were an experiment for the Sand Village. Shikaku was placed inside you, but you can't control it or the sand, so you're a threat to the village and its future." Gaara felt guilt and, through his tears, asked, "You had no other choice because it was the Kazekage's order, right?" But Yashimaru replied, "No, I could have refused, but deep down, I hate you because my sister died giving birth to you. I tried to love you for her sake, but I couldn't. She didn't want to give birth to you and became a victim of the village. She died cursing it. Your name means the self-loving god of war, and she named you that. She didn't name you out of worry or love, but to leave her hatred for the village." Suddenly, Yashimaru opened her jacket, revealing explosive tags, and said, "Please die," before detonating herself. The sand protected Gaara, who remembered her words about his mother's love being a lie. He felt immense pain, cried, and became enraged. Using sand, he etched a mark on his forehead, saying to himself, "I am alone. I won't love anyone." Gaara squeezes Sakura again, hurting her to provoke Naruto. Naruto uses the summoning technique, but a tiny frog appears, asking, "Are you a kid? Bring me snacks, or I won't play with you." Gaara mocks Naruto's attempts to save his friends. He transforms again, placing his hand over Sakura and says to Naruto, "If you can't defeat me, you won't free her. The sand will keep squeezing her tighter over time until it kills her." Tamari thinks to herself, "Gaara hasn't reached his full form yet, but even like this, I can't face him." Gaara launches a sand shuriken. Naruto picks up the tiny frog and jumps, but the shuriken hits him, slamming him into a tree and knocking him down. Meanwhile, Orochimaru continues pressing the sword, trying to return his soul to his body. Hiruzen says to him, "You still don't understand? This village is my home, and I am its pillar." Orochimaru replies, "And I told you, I'll break that pillar." Hiruzen responds, "As long as the people of Konoha fight for their friends, that pillar won't break for someone like you." Back with Naruto, we see he hasn't given up. He stands again, looking into Gaara's eyes, thinking, those sad, lonely eyes, they're just like mine. Naruto remembers his childhood and how people looked at him like a monster. He hated everyone who saw him that way, but he also remembers finding friends who helped him avoid drowning in the pain of loneliness. tears. He thinks, I don't know what he's been through, but he was alone, and his suffering continues. Even now, he trusts no one but himself and struggles through the hell of loneliness. Naruto leaps, uses the shadow clone jutsu, and attacks. Gaara counters with a wind technique, wiping out all the clones. He launches another sand shuriken, hitting Naruto and slamming him into a tree. Gaara continues his relentless assault, but Naruto feels a strange sensation. Gaara keeps provoking Naruto, saying, "You're weak." Naruto wraps an explosive tag around a kunai, creates shadow clones, and tells Gaara, "I'll show you a secret fighting move." Naruto jumps toward him, and Gaara grabs 3 clones with his hand. Naruto grabs one of the clones and hurls it at Gaara, creating another clone before Gaara strikes the thrown one. Naruto creates another clone to step on and change his direction, attacking Gaara from behind with the explosive kunai. Gaara turns and knocks Naruto away, but the kunai explodes, causing sand to fall off Gaara. He thinks, I didn't expect him to attack me from behind. I underestimated him. Naruto crashes into Sasuke, who says, "You did all that for one hit?" Naruto replies, "You'd better help Sakura somehow. When you save her, take her and run." Naruto remembers when Sasuke protected him in the fight with Haku. Sasuke struggles to stand and says, "I'll try to stall him and buy you some time. I lost everything once and don't want to lose my friends again." Naruto recalls Kakashi's words, "I won't let anyone on my team die, no matter what." Naruto stands and tells Sasuke, "He's like me. I felt that sadness and loneliness my whole life. That's why I thought he was strong, because he's alone and fights for himself. But strength doesn't come from loneliness, and you can't truly be strong fighting only for yourself." Naruto remembers Haku's words, "A person is truly strong when they protect someone precious to them." Naruto releases a massive amount of chakra and creates countless clones, stunning everyone. Pointing at Gaara, Naruto says, "Sorry to keep you waiting. This is where my story begins." Gaara is shocked by the number of clones surrounding him. Naruto tells Sasuke, "Rest now and leave the rest to me." All the clones attack Gaara with shuriken at once. When Gaara blocks them, the clones rush him with punches. Gaara falls to the ground, unable to move. Naruto continues his assault, but Gaara becomes enraged and completes his transformation. He grows massive, revealing the beast within him, Shikaku, in its true form. Gaara says to Naruto, "I didn't expect to reach this stage, showing you my true form." He grabs Naruto with sand. Sasuke worries about him, but is unable to move. Naruto remembers Sakura is in danger, wipes blood from his mouth, and performs the summoning technique, this time summoning Gamabunta. Naruto thinks, "My training paid off." Gaara says, "You've entertained me a lot." Sasuke is shocked by Naruto's strength. Gamabunta says to Naruto, "You again? What do you want?" He notices Shikaku and asks, "Why should I fight this guy?" "That's stupid." Naruto replies, "You told me last time that you'd fight with me." Gamabunta says, "I said I'd make you my underling." The tiny frog Naruto summoned earlier jumps onto Gamabunta's head and says, "Please, Dad, help him." Gamabunta is surprised, saying, "Gamatatsu, what are you doing here?" Gamatatsu replies, "I was bored and came to play. That guy over there tried to kill me, but Naruto saved me." Enraged, Gamabunta draws his sword and tells Naruto, "I officially accept you as my underling," before attacking Shikaku, cutting off his arm. Naruto tells Gamabunta, "Don't go that way. Sakura is there. I need to defeat this beast to free her." Gaara grows angrier, and Temari flees, saying he's going to use that technique. "I have to get away." Gaara's body appears atop Shikaku's head. He says, "This is the price of entertaining me. I'll show you the power of sand manifestation." Gamabunta tells Naruto the rings around his eyes mean he's Shikaku's host. A host of Shikaku can't sleep because they're afraid. If they fall asleep, Shikaku takes over their personality, and they can't return to normal. The lack of sleep makes their personality unstable. When the host is awake, Shikaku's power is limited. But if he falls asleep, Shikaku gains full control. Gaara uses the forced sleep technique to let Shikaku take over. Suddenly, Shikaku laughs, saying, "Finally, I'm free." Shikaku uses a wind technique, but Gamabunta dodges it, countering with a water technique. Shikaku retaliates with another wind blast. They continue their battle until Gamabunta gets hit by a wind attack, which doesn't affect him. Gamabunta tells Naruto, "You need to wake the host." He pins Shikaku so Naruto can jump and wake Gaara, but Gamabunta struggles to hold his grip on Shikaku without claws. He says, "We need to transform into something with claws using the transformation technique, but I can't use it. Imagine it and do it yourself. Gamabunta charges at Shikaku, and Naruto decides what to transform into. Suddenly, they take on the form of the Ninetales. They charge at Shikaku quickly, and Shikaku fires a wind blast at them, but they dodge it. They continue trying to catch Shikaku, but he evades them. Gamabunta grabs a tree and jumps at Shikaku, who fires a wind blast at him. However, Gamabunta blocks it with the tree, leaps onto Shikaku, bites him, and holds him down with his claws. They stop the transformation technique, and Naruto jumps to punch Gaara with a powerful blow, waking him up and ending the forced sleep technique, causing Shikaku to retreat back into Gaara. Naruto runs towards Gaara to strike again, but Gaara grabs him by the leg with sand, attempting to attack with sand blasts. However, Gamabunta wraps his tongue around Naruto to protect him. Gaara tightens the sand around Naruto's leg and says, "I'll kill you." Meanwhile, the sand shinobi arrive at the village center and are surprised to find no resistance, children, or women. Back at the shelter, Konohamaru exits with Irika and his friends, pretending he needs to use the restroom. Irika tells them, "We're in an emergency, and it would be a problem if the enemy finds us." However, Konohamaru runs down the hall and suddenly crashes into someone, falling to the ground. At the same time, Kakashi and Guy continue their fight against the sound ninjas to protect the people caught in Kabuto's genjutsu. They finish them off completely. Kakashi hears the sound of a bird and says, "That's the signal." We move to a group of ANBU standing by a grave. One of the ANBU says, "I'll avenge you, Hey 8, and they also hear the signal and begin to move. We return to Konohamaru, who has crashed into the nurse and teacher Anko, along with the other women of the village. They tell Irika the evacuation is complete. Now it's time for the counterattack. The ANBU begin their attack on all the enemy forces in the village. Meanwhile, Naruto watches Sakura, noticing the sand pressing on her more. He asks the Ninetales for chakra, and the red chakra begins to gather around him. At the same time, Hayashi Hyuga fights the enemy, defeating them with the Kaiten technique. Shikamaru's father uses his shadow technique on some sand shinobi, strangling them with it. Choji's father uses his enlargement technique, increasing his size and defeating the enemy. Back to Naruto, he jumps at Gaara to punch him, but Gaara grabs his hand with sand. Naruto punches Gaara in the head, causing him to lose consciousness, and the sand breaks apart, causing Gaara to fall. Gamabunta thinks to himself, he punched him in the head after gathering all that chakra, yet his fighting style is still so stupid. I've never seen such a clumsy ninja, but he'll be very strong in the long run. Gamabunta and his son head back home. Both Gaara and Naruto fall onto a tree. Naruto says to Gaara, "Neither of us has any chakra left, so let's finish this for our own sake." Meanwhile, Sarutobi says to Orochimaru, "I don't have the strength to take your soul completely, but your ambition ends here." Orochimaru replies, "Not now. My ambition doesn't end here." Sarutobi tells him, "I'll give you a punishment that fits you. You're addicted to jutsu, so I'll take all of it with me." He pulls the life of the dead Hokage technique from Orochimaru's hand, cuts it off, and seals it into his own body. Orochimaru's hand begins to change color as Sarutobi says, "You won't be able to use your hands anymore, and you won't be able to perform jutsu because you won't be able to form the seals. You won't have any ninjutsu." Sarutobi closes his eyes and dies. Back to Gaara and Naruto. They jump at each other, fists raised, and Naruto lands a powerful punch on Gaara, knocking both of them to the ground. Enma feels sorrow for Sarutobi and, as he approaches Sarutobi's body, he says to himself, "I'll pull this sword out of your body. You died with honor, just as expected from someone who mastered the ninja way." Then Enma disappears. Orochimaru says, "I feel like my hands are burning," and tells his followers, "Our mission is over. Remove the field and let's leave." They deactivate the technique, carry Orochimaru, and leave. The ANBU, Kakashi, and Guy notice the field has disappeared. The ANBU try to pursue them, but one of Orochimaru's followers releases a spider web to block them. At the same time, Guy says to Kakashi, "Let's chase them." Kakashi responds, "No." Kabuto replies to Guy, "If you move without knowing what's happening, you could fall into the enemy's trap." Guy answers, "I know, but trap or not, we can't let the enemy escape." Kakashi asks Kabuto, "Are you just going to watch?" Kabuto removes his mask and says, "You figured it out?" A sand village Jonin asks Kabuto, "What do we do now?" Kabuto replies, "We retreat." Kakashi responds, "You're running away from me again?" Kabuto says, "This time, yes. If I use any technique, you'll copy it from me. But wait, you don't know how to use that like the Uchiha clan does." He uses a technique to escape with the sand Jonin. Meanwhile, Tamari is running through the forest when she hears Kankuro calling her. The sand binding Sakura disappears, and Sasuke catches her before she falls. He tells the dog, "Take care of her," and leaves. Naruto tries to crawl toward Gaara as both of them are unable to move. Gaara wonders to himself, why is he so strong? Naruto continues to crawl, using his chin, and recalls when he was young and people looked at him with fear, calling him a monster and leaving him behind. He always cried and lived his childhood alone. Similarly, Gaara remembers his own memories of loneliness and being shunned by people. Naruto recalls Gaara telling him in the hospital, "I'm just a memory they wish to get rid of, so why do I even exist?" He also remembers Haku saying, "The worst feeling is knowing you're unwanted in this world." Gaara tells Naruto, "Stay away from me." Naruto replies, "The pain of loneliness is unbearable. I don't know why, but I understand your feelings, and I know it hurts a lot. But I have people dear to me, and I won't let you hurt them. If you do, I'll stop you even if I have to kill you." Gaara asks him, "Why do you do all this for them?" Naruto responds, "The loneliness I went through, the hell I lived in. They saved me from it and acknowledged my existence." Gaara remembers Yashimaru's words about love being the spirit of devotion for someone precious to you, expressed through caring and protecting those you love. Gaara realizes that Naruto's strength comes from love. Sasuke appears and says to Naruto, "That's enough. Sakura is fine now." Sasuke adds, "Your chakra must be gone since Sakura is free from the sand." Naruto falls asleep. Temari and Kankuro arrive, and Gaara tells them, "Don't fight." Kankuro is surprised because it's the first time he's seen Gaara so weak. They take Gaara and leave. Gaara reflects on Naruto's words and apologizes to Temari and Kankuro. Meanwhile, Kakashi, Guy, and the other shinobi learn that Sarutobi has died. The next day, we see Naruto in his room, looking gloomy as he remembers Sarutobi. He gets up, puts on his funeral clothes, and meets Sakura and Sasuke before heading to the funeral. All the shinobi of the village gather there, filled with sadness. The sky is raining, and Asuma says, "Even the sky is crying for him." Everyone remembers their memories with Sarutobi. Irika recalls standing by his parents' grave as a child, crying. Sarutobi comforted him, saying, "It's been a year since they passed. It's not easy to hide your sadness and smile, is it? I heard you're the source of laughter at the academy." Irika replied, "I'm not sad. It's an honor for a ninja to die while fulfilling their mission. My parents died protecting the village from the beast, and I'm proud to be their son because they were heroes. I'm not sad, even if I'm alone. These tears are tears of joy." Sarutobi hugged him and said, "Stop crying. I know you're struggling with loneliness, but you're not alone. All the ninja in the village have strong wills, and that will protect the village. As long as they have that will, everyone in the village is family." Irika smiled and said, "Yes." At the same time, we see Kakashi by another grave. The ANBU member who was there earlier appears, and Kakashi asks her, "That flower is for Heiate?" She replies, "Yes." Kakashi says, "The third Hokage's funeral has started. You should go quickly." She responds, "And you came here for Obito? You should have gone to Sarutobi's funeral earlier instead of making excuses for being late." Kakashi says, "I went there this morning, but I come here to punish myself for my stupidity back then." Jiraiya watches them from a distance, remembering when he was tied to a tree by Sarutobi for not training properly. Naruto recalls the third Hokage's words, advice, and guidance. Everyone places flowers on the grave, remembering all the love, support, and protection Sarutobi gave them. Naruto asks Irika, "Why would someone sacrifice their life for others?" Irika replies, "When someone dies, they disappear, along with their past, their life, and their future. Many people die in wars and missions. Heiate was one of them, and so were your parents. These people died with dreams and goals, but everyone has someone dear to them, family, siblings, friends. They trust and support each other, and the bond between them grows stronger over time. They'll do anything for one another because they're precious to each other." Naruto responds, "I understand, but it's still painful when someone dies." Kakashi adds, "The Hokage didn't die in vain. He left a significant impact on all of us. You'll realize it in time." The rain stops, the sun comes out, and everyone heads home. Irika thinks to himself, "You pass down the will of fire, third Hokage. That will of fire will make the village grow stronger than before and protect it forever." He looks at Naruto and says to himself, "Until the day you become the new Hokage." Meanwhile, we see two Akatsuki members on the village wall, Kisame and Uchiha Itachi, Sasuke's brother. Kisame says to Itachi, "They managed to avoid complete destruction, but the damage is still great." Itachi responds, "The village that once thrived above all others has become pitiful." Kisame replies, "That's not like you. Even someone like you is still attached to your village." Itachi says, "No, I'm not attached to it." If you are excited to see the rest of the story, just get down to the comments and show me your enthusiasm. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to get all the new videos. That's all for this video, and see you next.